Chosen one, the energy has snapped, and right at the beginning of this unraveling is the reality that they don't care anymore. They are dead set on telling you the truth, no matter who gets karma, and the fallout has already started. That operation is collapsing now. One person is flipping the switch. The truth is coming out clean and raw, period. Someone with a god complex was orchestrating moves against you like you were a chess piece that needed to be eliminated. This person gathered weak minds around them, people who needed someone to tell them how to think, people desperate for validation, people who would do anything to feel special and chosen and part of something exclusive. They created this toxic circle where jealousy was reframed as discernment, where betrayal was justified as protection, where stealing from you was positioned as balancing the scales. They spent hours talking about you, studying you, analyzing your success and your energy and your impact, and it consumed them that you weren't even trying, that you just existed in your natural state and people gravitated toward you. Your ex was part of this group, or this person from your past who had access to your life. They fed information about you to people with bad intentions, your finances, your creative projects, your vulnerabilities, your dreams. Things you shared in intimate moments got turned into ammunition. They turned private conversations into entertainment. They weaponized secrets you trusted them with. The same puppet master who used your ex to get to you just cut their strings, tossed them aside like garbage. And now this person is sitting in wreckage, realizing they sacrificed something real for people who never cared at all. They're broke, isolated, dealing with consequences that are crushing them, and they've made a decision. If I'm going down, everyone's going down with me. This confession that's coming isn't about redemption, it's about revenge. They want to take down the person who manipulated them. They want to expose the whole operation. They want to make everyone who participated feel what they're feeling right now, and you're the key to making that happen. Because you're the one who was wronged. You're the one with standing to pursue justice. You're the one who can light the fuse that blows their whole world apart. But you need to see this clearly. This approach isn't coming from nobility, it's coming from need. They're in trouble, and they see you as a potential lifeline. They think that if they give you the truth, maybe you'll give them help, maybe you'll pay for lawyers, maybe you'll grant them access back into your life, maybe you'll save them the way you probably tried to save them before. That's the transaction they're hoping for. Information for rescue. You don't owe them that, not a single thing, but the information itself has value. Because you deserve to know what really happened. You deserve to understand why things went down the way they did. You deserve to have your intuition validated and your suspicions confirmed. So when they come with their confession and their crocodile tears, you take the truth, and you let karma handle the rest. Let's talk about why all of this happened, why you became the target, why people you never even thought about were sitting around obsessing over you. It comes down to one thing. Your energy is massive, and everyone could feel it. People notice. Some are drawn to it, others feel threatened by it, and the ones who felt threatened couldn't just let you exist in peace. You have this quality where you don't need external validation to know who you are. You're not performing for approval. You're not trying to convince anyone of your worth. You just move through the world as your authentic self, and somehow that's more powerful than anything people achieve through manipulation and image management. That drove them insane. The person with the God complex saw you as a direct threat to their control, because their whole operation was built on making people believe they had power and insight and connections that made them special. They needed followers who would worship them and compete for their approval. But you didn't even see them as special. You weren't impressed. You weren't intimidated. You just existed on a completely different frequency, and your ex felt that too. Being with you meant feeling the gap between your natural confidence and their desperate need for validation. You were whole, they were fragmented. You were growing, they were stagnant. You had ambitions and talents that you were actively developing. They had potential they were too scared to pursue. Being around you highlighted everything they weren't, and that made them resentful instead of inspired. So when the puppet master started whispering poison in their ear, they were receptive. When this toxic group started pointing out all the ways you were too much or too independent or too successful, they started believing it. Other people reframed your strengths as threats. Jealous voices convinced them that you were the problem, and they made a choice to betray you rather than rise to meet you. They shared your private information with people who wanted to use it against you. They allowed conversations where your dreams were mocked and your struggles became entertainment. They participated in schemes to take resources that belonged to you. Whether it was actual money or creative ideas or opportunities, deliberate theft was happening, and they were part of it. But here's what they didn't understand. Every move they made against you was actually pushing you toward your destiny. Every obstacle they created forced you to develop new strengths. Every resource they stole got replaced with something better. Every betrayal refined you into someone more powerful than before. They thought they were destroying you. They were actually forging you into something unbreakable. And now the karma is coming full circle. The same people they betrayed you for have now betrayed them. The same manipulation they participated in is being used against them. The same pain they caused you is being inflicted on them. And they're realizing too late that they destroyed something real for people who never cared about them at all. That realization is crushing them, and it's making them dangerous in a way that actually serves you. If you recognized yourself in this message, hype this video to guide other chosen ones to this truth. They're not just coming with stories, they're bringing evidence, proof that cannot be denied. Text messages where the group discussed plans against you. Financial records showing money that was taken, screenshots of conversations where your private information was shared and mocked, documentation of fraud or theft or creative work that was stolen. They're preparing to hand you everything. Why? Because they're not just angry, they're strategic. They know that if they're going to take down the puppet master and this whole toxic operation, they need you as the weapon. You're the one who was wronged. You're the one with standing to pursue legal action. You're the one who can blow this whole thing wide open in a way that destroys everyone involved. And they don't care anymore if they go down too. That's what makes this dangerous and useful at the same time. They've reached that point where mutual destruction feels like justice. If I burn, everyone burns. If I suffer, everyone suffers. They want the person with the God complex to lose everything. They want the whole group exposed, and they're willing to expose themselves in the process. But here's what you need to understand about the information they're about to give you. It's going to be both more and less than you think. More in terms of how deep the conspiracy went, how calculated the moves against you were, how many people were actually involved, how long it went on. The scale of it is going to be shocking, even though you knew something was wrong. Less in terms of it actually explaining their choices. Because at the end of everything, they still chose this. They still participated. They still betrayed you. And no amount of manipulation from the puppet master absolves them of responsibility for their actions. They had free will. They made decisions. Every time they shared your information, that was a choice. Every time they participated in schemes against you, that was a choice. They're going to try to position themselves as a victim too, as someone who was manipulated and used just like you were, and there's probably some truth to that. They were used, they were manipulated, but they were also a willing participant in using and manipulating you. Both things are true. Don't let them conflate being manipulated with being innocent. When the confession comes, when they finally open their mouth and let the truth spill out, you're going to hear things that confirm your worst fears. You're going to learn details that make all the strange pieces suddenly fit together. You're going to understand why things happened the way they did, and it's going to hurt. You're going to find out that the arguments you had weren't organic, they were manufactured. This toxic group would feed your ex things to be upset about. They planted seeds of doubt. They interpreted your innocent actions in the worst possible light and then coached your ex on how to confront you about them. They were actively trying to create conflict in your relationship. You're going to learn that when your ex went out, sometimes they were actually meeting with this group. Going to someone's place where they would sit around and talk about you, sharing stories about your relationship, complaining about you being too successful or too independent, bonding over their shared resentment of your energy and your impact. You were the main topic of conversation for people you weren't even thinking about. You're going to discover that there was massive jealousy around your money and your talents. They looked at what you could do and they wanted it for themselves. There were actual plans to steal your creative ideas. Opportunities that should have come to you were redirected to people in their group. Your financial resources were deliberately targeted. There was fraud, there was theft, there was calculated harm done to you financially. And you're going to find out exactly what they said about you behind your back, the intimate details they shared, the vulnerable moments they mocked, the dreams you confided that they turned into jokes, the insecurities you revealed that became ammunition. Things you shared in trust got weaponized against you by people who never even met you. You're going to realize that while all of this was happening, while they were obsessing over you and plotting against you and trying to dim your light, you were growing, you were evolving, you were building, you were moving toward your purpose. They stayed stuck in toxic patterns while you were ascending. They stayed focused on you while you stayed focused on your destiny. There were moments when things should have gone much worse for you than they did, plans that should have succeeded but mysteriously fell apart, schemes that should have devastated you but somehow missed their mark, attacks that should have landed but got deflected at the last moment. You thought it was luck. It wasn't luck. You're protected in ways that people operating in darkness can't perceive. There's a shield around chosen ones that deflects attacks launched from low frequencies. The Puppet Master and that toxic group were throwing everything they had at you, but most of it never actually reached you. It got stopped, redirected, sent back to sender, and they couldn't figure out why their usual tactics weren't working the way they worked on other people. This is what drives manipulators insane when they encounter chosen ones. The usual playbook doesn't work. The manipulation that breaks other people just bounces off you. The lies that would normally take root can't penetrate your field. The schemes that would devastate someone else barely register for you. It's like trying to curse someone who's blessed. The curse has nowhere to land. Your ex is going to tell you about plans that failed, about things they tried to do that inexplicably didn't work, about moments when it seemed like you had some kind of invisible protection they couldn't overcome. They might frame it as luck or timing or you being smart, but you'll know better. You'll recognize that you were being guarded by something greater than yourself. This protection extends beyond just blocking attacks. It also redirected you away from situations that would have harmed you, opportunities that seemed perfect but would have been traps, relationships that appeared promising but were actually toxic, paths that looked successful but would have led you away from your purpose. You were being steered, chosen one, guided away from danger and toward your destiny. The group couldn't understand why you kept slipping through their fingers, why their carefully laid plans kept falling apart, why you kept landing on your feet no matter what they did. They attributed it to you being lucky or clever. They never considered that you might be operating with backup. They couldn't see that there might be forces working on your behalf that existed on a plane they couldn't access. This is why the confession is coming now, because that protection is still active, because you're still being guided, because this is the right time for you to receive this information in a way that empowers rather than wounds you. The timing isn't random, the circumstances aren't coincidental. Everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to for your highest good. Now watch what happens when people build their lives on deception and betrayal. The same tactics they used against you get used against them. The puppet master who manipulated your ex into betraying you just manipulated them into a position where they take the fall for everything. The group that bonded over tearing you down is now tearing each other apart. The schemes they celebrated are now destroying them from the inside. Your ex is broke, or in debt, or facing legal trouble. The financial games they played have backfired on them. The person they sacrificed you for has cut them off completely. They're isolated from the toxic group and unable to reconnect with genuine people because they burned those bridges. They're sitting in consequences they created but didn't anticipate, and it's crushing them. The puppet master is losing control. Without you as a common target, the group is fragmenting. People are turning on each other. The manipulation that worked so well when directed outward is now being used internally. Alliances are shifting, secrets are being exposed, the whole operation is imploding, and the person who orchestrated it all is watching their empire of lies collapse around them. And while they're dealing with all of that, while their world is burning down around them, look at where you are. Look at what you've built. Look at who you've become. Every attack they launched against you made you stronger. Every obstacle they created forced you to find better paths. Every resource they stole got replaced with something aligned with your actual purpose. They tried to destroy you and ended up refining you instead. When your ex shows up with their truth bomb, here's exactly how you handle it. You listen. Not because you owe them anything, not because you need to give them closure, but because you deserve to finally understand the full picture. You deserve to have every suspicion validated. You deserve to see the complete map of what was done to you, so you can close that chapter forever. Let them talk. Let them confess. Let them show you whatever evidence they brought. Process it all with the calm power of someone who already knew deep down that something was wrong. Don't react emotionally in front of them. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you hurt, or angry, or broken. You're receiving information. That's all this is. Data collection. Ask clarifying questions if you need to. Get specifics, names, details about financial transactions, whatever you need to have a complete understanding, but maintain your boundaries while you do this. Don't let their tears manipulate you. Don't let their remorse make you responsible for comforting them. They created this situation. They can sit in the discomfort of it. And when they're done, when they've laid it all out and they're sitting there waiting for your response, here's what you do. You thank them for the information, you acknowledge that you needed to know these things, and then you make it crystal clear that this doesn't change anything between you. This doesn't create an obligation. This doesn't mean you're going to help them or forgive them or let them back into your life. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. They might push back at this point. They might try to guilt you. They might remind you that they gave you valuable information and now you should help them in return. They might bring up good times you had together or ways they supported you before everything went wrong. Don't fall for it. Information about betrayal you experienced isn't currency. Truth isn't a transaction. They don't get to trade confession for rescue. You set the terms here. You decide what happens next. Not them, not the puppet master, not anyone else involved in this mess. You, because you're the one who was wronged. You're the one with the power now. You're the one who gets to choose whether to pursue justice through legal channels or to simply take the information as closure and walk away. Either choice is valid. Either choice is yours to make. They're expecting you to be devastated by this confession. They're expecting tears and anger and broken pieces they might have to clean up. They're expecting the version of you they remember, the person they hurt, the person they betrayed. They're not ready for who you've become in the time since they've been gone. You're not that person anymore. You've been refined by fire. You've been strengthened by betrayal. You've been elevated by the very attacks they launched against you. You've grown into a version of yourself that operates at a frequency they can't even comprehend. And when they see that, when they realize you're not broken at all, it's going to shake them, because here's what their confession was supposed to do. It was supposed to position them as the repentant one, seeking forgiveness. It was supposed to make you need them in some way, either for more information, or for closure, or for help processing what they told you. It was supposed to create a dynamic where they still have some kind of control or influence over you. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to receive their information with the calm authority of someone who already knew they were right. You're going to process it without falling apart. You're going to ask the questions you need answered without getting emotional, and you're going to walk away from that conversation more powerful than you walked into it, because now you have confirmation, now you have proof, now you have the complete picture, and they're going to sit there watching you leave, realizing that they didn't get what they came for, they didn't get your pity, they didn't get your help, they didn't get another chance. They gave you the truth, and all they got in return was the knowledge that you're doing better without them than they're doing without you. That's going to haunt them more than any revenge you could have planned. The puppet master is going to hear about this meeting. They're going to find out that your ex spilled everything, and they're going to panic, because now you know, now you have receipts, now you're a threat to their whole operation. They might try to do damage control. They might try to discredit your ex or discredit you. They might try to spin the narrative in a way that makes them look better. Watch them scramble, watch them squirm, watch them try to maintain control that's already slipping through their fingers. Once you have the full confession, once you've seen all the evidence they brought, once you understand the complete picture of what was done to you, you're going to face a choice. You can pursue justice through whatever channels are available, legal action if laws were broken, public exposure if you want others to know who these people really are, formal complaints if professional misconduct was involved, or you can take the information and simply walk away. Neither choice is wrong, neither choice is weak. This is entirely about what serves your highest good and your continued evolution. Some people need to pursue external justice to feel complete. Some people need to see consequences play out publicly. Some people need the validation of official recognition that wrong was done. If that's you, if that's what you need, then pursue it fully and without apology. But understand that pursuing justice externally requires energy. It requires time and attention and emotional bandwidth. It requires you to stay connected to this situation and these people while legal processes unfold or public discourse happens. It requires you to relive the betrayal multiple times as you explain it to lawyers or authorities or whoever needs to understand what happened. That's a real cost you need to factor into your decision. The alternative is recognizing that karma is already working, that these people are already facing consequences, that their world is already falling apart, that justice is being served even without your active participation. And choosing to take the information as the closure you needed while directing your energy toward building your future rather than addressing your past, this choice reveals something about where you are in your journey. Early in healing, most people need external justice. They need to see their perpetrators punished. They need public acknowledgement of the wrong done. They need validation from outside sources. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a legitimate stage of processing betrayal. But as you evolve, as you heal more deeply, as you step more fully into your power, you often reach a point where external justice becomes less important than internal peace, where you realize that watching them destroy themselves is satisfaction enough, where you understand that the best revenge is living well, and you're already doing that, where you recognize that pursuing them keeps you tied to them, and you value your freedom more than your vindication. Only you know which choice is right for you right now. Only you can assess honestly where you are in your healing and what you need to feel complete. Don't let anyone shame you for choosing justice if that's what you need, and don't let anyone pressure you into pursuing it if peace is what you're really after. This is your journey, your decision, your power to wield however serves you best. While your ex was busy destroying themselves and the puppet master was losing control and that whole toxic group was imploding, what were you doing? You were building, you were creating, you were manifesting exactly what you're meant to have. You were stepping into your purpose without them as anchors dragging you down, and the restoration that's coming for you isn't just about getting back what was taken. It's about receiving what was always meant to be yours. Every resource they stole is being returned to you multiplied. Every opportunity they blocked is being replaced with something better aligned with your actual calling. Every relationship they poisoned is being replaced with genuine connections with people who celebrate you instead of resenting you. This isn't happening because you chased it or forced it or spent your energy seeking revenge. It's happening because that's how universal law works. What belongs to you will always find its way back to you. The people who betrayed you are going to watch this happen. They're going to see you thrive. They're going to witness blessings flow into your life. They're going to observe you succeed at levels they didn't know existed, and it's going to confirm what they always suspected but didn't want to admit, that you are special, that you're operating with divine backing, that their attacks couldn't stop you because you're protected by something they can't touch. Your ex is going to see your success and feel the full weight of what they lost, not just you as a person, though that will sting, but the life they could have had, the peace and prosperity and genuine love they could have experienced if they had made different choices. If they had stood up to toxic influences, if they had valued you the way you deserved, they're going to carry that regret like a stone. The puppet master is going to see your rise and feel their illusion of power crumble even further. Because their whole identity was built on being able to control and diminish others, but they couldn't control you, they couldn't diminish you. In fact, everything they did to hurt you made you stronger. You're living proof that their power was always fake. And that reality is eating away at them from the inside. The toxic group is going to fragment completely. Without you as a common target, they're going to turn on each other like dogs fighting over scraps. The person with the God complex is going to use and discard them one by one. They're going to betray each other the way they betrayed you, and they're going to learn that you can't build anything lasting on darkness and manipulation. Everything they tried to create is turning to ash in their hands. Meanwhile, you're surrounded by people who genuinely love and support you. People who are inspired by your light instead of threatened by it. People who add to your life instead of draining from it. You're creating work that matters. You're using your gifts in ways that help others. You're proof that chosen ones don't stay down. That betrayal doesn't get the last word. That light always defeats darkness in the end. So when this confession comes, and it's coming soon, here's what you need to remember. You already survived the worst of it. You already made it through the betrayal. You already did the healing work. You already rebuilt yourself into someone more powerful than you were before. This confession is just confirmation, just validation, just the final piece of a puzzle you already solved. Receive the truth with the calm authority of someone who knew all along they were right. Let them tell you everything. Take whatever evidence they offer. Ask the questions you need answered, and then make your own decision about what to do with it. Not based on their needs, not based on their agenda, not based on what they're hoping you'll do. Based on what serves your highest good and your continued peace. If you want to pursue justice through legal channels, do it. If you want to expose what happened publicly, do it. If you want to simply take the information as closure and walk away, do that. Whatever choice you make is the right choice because it's yours. You're the one with the power now. You're the one in control. You're the one who gets to write the ending to this chapter. And here's what that ending looks like. You walking away from this situation more powerful, more clear, more aligned with your purpose than ever before. You stepping into a season of blessings that make up for everything you lost and more. You surrounded by genuine people who understand your value. You creating and building and manifesting at levels that prove you were always meant for greatness. They thought they were writing you out of the story. They thought they were eliminating competition. They thought that by stealing from you and blocking you and undermining you, they were clearing the path for themselves, but they didn't understand who they were dealing with. They didn't understand that chosen ones don't stay down. They didn't understand that what looks like a setback is actually a setup for a comeback that changes everything. You're about to enter your victory season. Not because you destroyed your enemies, though karma is handling that beautifully on its own, but because you chose growth over grievance, because you chose building over bitterness, because you chose to keep rising even when they were trying to pull you down. That choice, that consistent choice to operate at a higher frequency, is what brings the victory. The truth is coming. They don't care anymore about protecting their secrets. They're ready to burn it all down. And when they do, when they tell you everything, you're going to finally see the complete picture. You're going to understand exactly what you survived. You're going to know beyond doubt that you're unstoppable. You're unbreakable. You're exactly who you were always meant to be. A chosen one who chose light over darkness, truth over comfort, growth over revenge, your future over their failure, and that choice is going to echo through everything you build from this point forward, not just in your life, but in the lives of everyone watching, everyone learning, everyone who needs to see that betrayal doesn't destroy chosen ones, it reveals them. This confession is the final piece of closure you needed. Once you have it, you're going to close that door completely, lock it, turn your back on it, and face fully forward into a future so bright it makes their darkness look like nothing. And when you do that, when you finally release this chapter and step into what's next, that's when the real magic begins. That's when opportunities start flowing at a rate that makes up for lost time. That's when relationships deepen with people who actually deserve access to you. That's when your gifts expand in ways that impact thousands of people. That's when you step into the fullness of everything you were created to be, and everyone who ever doubted you, everyone who ever worked against you, everyone who ever tried to dim your light gets to watch you shine. They don't get to participate, they don't get to benefit, they don't get to claim any part of your success. They had their chance when they were close to you, and they chose to betray it. Now they get to watch from a distance as you become everything they were too threatened to support. That's the real karma. Not suffering, not destruction, just irrelevance, just being left behind while you ascend to levels they can't even comprehend. The storm that's approaching isn't going to destroy you, it's bringing you the final piece of truth you need to soar. You've been preparing for this moment your entire life. You've been building the strength to receive this information without letting it wound you again. You're ready, you're more than ready, you're exactly where you need to be. So when they come with their confession and their tears and their desperate hope that you'll save them, you receive the truth like the powerful being you are. You take what serves you, you leave what doesn't, you make your own choices about what happens next, and you walk away from that conversation knowing one absolute truth. You get the final word, not them, not the puppet master, not the toxic group that tried to bring you down, you. And that word, chosen one, is victory, complete, total, undeniable victory. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself because it's so obvious everyone can see it. The kind that doesn't need revenge because karma already handled that. The kind that comes from choosing light even when you had every reason to choose darkness. That's your story. That's your power. That's your truth. And nobody, no matter what they did or tried to do, can ever take that away from you. The confession is coming. Get ready to receive it. Get ready to close that chapter. And most importantly, get ready to step into everything you were always meant to become. Because your victory season starts